Support for SportsPage is provided by the University Store at the Crossing. The University Store at the Crossing is the official headquarters for Mules and Jennies emblem clothing, gifts, and UCM memorabilia. Books, office supplies, art supplies, and more are available at the University Store located on the lower level of the Elliott Union on the UCM campus in Warrensburg. And promotional support for SportsPage is provided by 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar. 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar, the radio home of the University of Central Missouri Athletics.
Tonight on this edition of the UCM Sports Page, we'll recap Mules Football as they took on Nebraska Kearney.
We'll also take a look at Jennies Soccer as it continues to roll and top the national polls.
And we'll bring you the top 5 plays from the first part of the UCM sports season. We will have it all for you and more on this week's edition of the UCM Sports Page.
Good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of the University of Central Missouri Sports Page. I'm Daniel Barnett.
I'm Asia Garrison.
And I'm Tristan McClellan. Thank you for joining us. We're going to start tonight's show with an update from Mules Football.
Heading into last Saturday's game, the Mules had lost their last 2 games against Emporia State and Northwest. The Mules look to get back on track this week against 0-3 Nebraska Kearney. On the Lopers' first play from scrimmage, Brownson Marsh and Romero Cotton fumbled the exchange, and the ball was recovered by the Mules' Josh Powell. The Lopers went on to block a field goal attempt from Billy Grayco, but were later forced to punt. That set up this intermission by Nebraska Kearney's Peyton Lang, who returned it 89 yards to give the Lopers an early 7-0 lead. The Mules will respond with a 25-yard field goal to cut the lead to 4. With just over 10 minutes left to go in the first half, Garrett Fugate found Kyle Eccles for a 27-yard touchdown pass to give the Mules a 3-point lead. Just before halftime, the Mules look to attempt a 33-yard field goal, but Fugate decides to roll to his right and finds Ian Tolson for a 16-yard touchdown pass to extend the Mules' lead. Former Mules offensive coordinator Josh Lamberson, now in his first year as head coach of the Lopers, decided to attempt an onside kick to start the second half, but the ball was recovered by Mules' Manuel Cole. That set up the 13-yard connection from Fugate to wide receiver Jalen Zachary to give the Mules a 17-point lead. With just under 4 minutes left in the third quarter, Marsh's pass is intercepted by Kenny Mims, who returns it 52 yards for a touchdown. The route was on. Markel Smith finished off a 6-play drive with his first collegiate touchdown run. The Mules will go on to win the game 38-7. With the win, the Mules even their record at 2-2. This Saturday, the Mules will host Missouri Southern for Family Weekend. Last season in Joplin, the Mules went overtime for 34-31 victory. Kickoff is scheduled for 1:30 p.m.
Jennies Volleyball opened MIAA play on the road this past weekend. The Jennies traveled to Edmond, Oklahoma on Friday and headed to Pittsburgh State on Saturday. The Jennies finished the weekend 1-1, dropping Friday's game to Central Oklahoma in 4 sets. UCM dropped the first set before the Broncos rallied to take the number 3 set. But they couldn't keep the momentum and dropped the 4th set to open conference play at 0-1. Maddie Jones led the Jennies with 20 kills, Annie Riley had 34 digs, and Courtney Thompson had 44 assists. The Jennies received their first conference win of the season against Pittsburgh State. The Jennies came from behind 2-0 to take the victory. Carly Soika recorded her 5th double-double of the season. Shelby Winkleman had 22 digs to lead the team. Annie Riley had 21 digs, also a pair of service aces, giving her 199 for her career. UCM heads back to Warrensburg for their MIAA home opener this weekend. The Jennies take on Fort Hays State Friday, October 2nd at 6 p.m. They then host Nebraska Kearney Saturday, October 3rd at 7 p.m. Tuesday, October 6th, the Jennies will be at Lindenwood for a 7 p.m. start.
Don't go away. There's still more of Mules and Jennies action to talk about. You're watching the UCM Sports Page on KMOS-TV Missouri PBS and the UCM Media Network.
I choose red to blaze my own trail.
I choose red to be with students and faculty who make me feel at home.
I wanted a university with a big picture perspective.
That's why I chose red.
Why do you choose red?
Choose red.
Choose red. Choose the University of Central Missouri.
Okay.
Is that allowed?
What if television could take us back in time, into the mind of a president?
This is our summer, Mr. Greatness.
And into the soul of a rebel?
I shook up the world!
What if we could know how it feels to shoot for the stars, to witness the terrors of combat, and know the heartache of those left at home? And why can't TV remember the heroes we honored, the music we danced to, the dreams we chased?
The hope still lives, and the dream shall never die.
No one tells our nation's story like PBS. Give to your PBS station and help bring America's story to life, now and for generations to come.
Welcome back to Sports Page. Daniel, you had a chance to check out Jennies Soccer this weekend. Tell us how they did.
Thanks, Tristan. The number 1 ranked Jennies opened MIAA play with a 4-0 shutout over Emporia State on Friday evening at South Rec. Forward Julie Ireland started off the scoring for the Gens. Ireland finds herself on the end of a pass from Nicole Pond and then finds the net. The goal is Ireland's 7th of the season. Jennies would double their lead in the 18th minute. Jada Scott collects this pass from Kayla Hamner. Scott spins, fires, and finds the corner. Gens up 2-0. Midfielder Megan Woolley extended the lead to 3-0 in the 35th minute. Woolley fights through the save attempt by the goalkeeper and slides the ball into the back of the net. Gens scored their final goal of the night in the 65th minute, and it was Woolley again. Woolley takes the cross, uses some fancy footwork, and then finds the perfect angle to beat the keeper. The goal is Woolley's 6th of the season. Jennies once again defended their top ranking and once again held their opponents scoreless for a second time in 3 days as they shut out Washburn 1-0 on Sunday. Jennies' offense was unable to get on the board early in the game as Washburn's defense crowded the area. Washburn's goalkeeper recorded 7 saves in the match, and the Jennies outshot the Ichabods 25-1. Jennies were able to put pressure on in the 67th minute, though. Julie Ireland flicks the ball past the goalkeeper, but the Ichabods' defense stiffened. The Gens put up 3 shots in a matter of seconds, but a save and 2 blocks from the Ichabod back line kept the game scoreless. UCM scored the game's only goal in the 74th minute. Abby Rhodes beats 2 defenders, finds Jada Scott all alone. Scott lays it off to Julie Ireland, and Ireland would net the go-ahead goal. The goal is Ireland's 8th in as many games. With 2 wins this weekend, UCM improves its record to 8-0 overall and 2-0 in the MIAA. Megan Woolley tallied 2 goals in Friday's win and was key in the defense of the Jennies' top spot on Sunday.
There's a lot of pressure just because I think everyone comes out and gives it their best shot. They think they have like nothing to lose and everything. We have everything to lose since we're the number 1.
Does that say NSIC?
So there's like a lot of
Is
pressure
that
on
NSIC?
trying to win and keep that spot.
Is that NSIC?
Jennies Soccer is on the road this weekend. The Jennies will be at Nebraska Kearney Friday. Game time is 1 p.m. They then travel to Fort Hays State on Sunday for an 11 a.m. matchup with the Tigers.
Jennies Golf placed 7th out of 12 at the Lincoln Invitational. The Jennies shot a .337. Elizabeth Leith was the highest placed Jenny as she tied for 7th with her opening of 77 and another 77 for the second round. The Jennies will be back at it Monday and Tuesday, October 5th and 6th in the Central Oklahoma Classic at Lincoln Park East Golf Course in Oklahoma City. Mules Golf will compete in the NSIC Fall Invitation October 5th and 6th at the Jewel Golf Club in Lake City, Minnesota.
Jennies Soccer is in a 3-way tie for first place, sitting at 2-0. UCM is tied with Northeastern State and Nebraska Kearney. Central Oklahoma is sitting in 4th, and there's a 4-way tie for 5th. Jennies Volleyball is currently 1-1 and tied for 6th in the MIAA standings. Central Oklahoma, Missouri Western, and Northwest Missouri are tied for 1st at 2-0. Mules Football is 7th in the league at 2-2. There's a 2-way tie for first place with Emporia State, Northwest State, sitting at 4-0. 4 teams are tied for 3rd. That's all for the MIAA standings this week. When we return, we'll have more news and notes and our featured program of the week, Top Plays. Don't go away. You're watching UCM SPORTSPAGE on KMOS-TV Missouri PBS and the UCM Network.
Live with a human for a while and you get to know a few things. Like, I know she's actually not a morning person. I know she does strange tricks for no treats. I know that water makes her howl like crazy. I even know how the floor stays so clean. She's quick. But the one thing I will never for the life of me know is how she gets so tiny and inside that box. Natalie, how do you get so tiny?
I choose red for unlimited possibilities.
I choose red because my family is less than an hour away, but I still get to be independent.
I get to apply my classroom experience to my everyday life. That's why I chose red.
Okay, that'll work.
Why do you choose red?
Choose red.
Choose red.
Choose the University of Central Missouri.
Choose red. Kidding, that was a joke.
Got a lot happening as usual this week in UCM athletics, and as always, it seems we have some polls, conference awards, and student athletes in the community to report. Central Missouri soccer team remained the top-ranked team in the nation in the latest soccer coaches poll. Jennies held on to the top spot after going 2-0 last week with home wins over Emporia State and Washburn. The Jennies are the only MIAA team to appear in the poll. Two keys to the Jennies' success are defender Abby Rhodes and goalkeeper Anna Dilks. That tandem was selected as the MIAA Defender and Goalkeeper of the Week. Rhodes helped stop Emporia State and Washburn attacks. The Jennies allowed just 11 total shots in 2 games. Against Washburn, Rhodes also helped set up the lone goal of the game. She collected an assist on the game winner. Dilks pitched 2 shutouts as she collected her second straight Goalkeeper of the Week award. She stopped all 4 shots that came her way, and is the conference leader in shutouts, save percentage, and goals against average. After going 1-1 last weekend, UCM Volleyball slid 7 spots to number 6, from number 6 to 13 in the volleyball coaches poll. Washburn is sitting at number 12 in the poll. Central Oklahoma and Nebraska Kearney are also in the top 20 at 14th and 16th respectively. Fresh off their 38-7 win at Nebraska Kearney last Saturday, the Mules Football team is back in the D2Football.com Top 25 poll. Mules are back in the poll for the first time in 3 weeks. Student athletes from the University of Central Missouri will make their annual visits to Warrensburg elementary schools beginning in October. The literacy team will be promoting the importance of reading skills to local students. The literacy team will visit Martin Warren, Ridgeview, Sterling, and Maple Grove.
A new feature we're going to add every couple of weeks is our top 5 plays. We'll review the highlights from UCM and Jennies games and pick the top plays. And here we go.
Number 5, how about a little pitch and catch here? Garrett Fugate to Kyle Eccles for the 30-yard score helped snap a 4-game losing streak against the Griffins.
Number 4, check out the fancy footwork by Megan Woolley as she finishes with the goal. Woolley finished with 2 goals that helped lead the Jennies to a shutout victory over Emporia.
Number 3, how about Flamethrower coming right at you by Annie Riley as she get the service ace.
Number 2, back with Jennies Soccer. Watch how Courtney Keelan weaves through the entire defense for an easy chip shot goal. The Jennies shutout victory against Lindenwood.
And the number 1 play goes to the fake field goal. That leads to a touchdown from Garrett Fugate to Ian Tolson as the Mules destroy Nebraska Kearney for a 3rd consecutive year, 38-7. That's all for top plays. Be sure to tune in 2 weeks for more top plays.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have one of our favorite segments. This week's questions focus on Mules Football, Jennies Soccer, and Volleyball. You're watching the UCM Sports Page on KMOS-TV and the UCM Media Network.
I'm a professor of social work at the University of Southern Mississippi. I love being a teacher. My students come from varied backgrounds. The majority of them have also been impacted by Hurricane Katrina. They bring a lot of their own experience into the classroom. When you're teaching students that have life experience, they really demand relevance. I use PBS to show my students some of the things that they will actually be encountering out in the field. They are engaged. They have comments and questions. We have great dialogues. PBS opens up a world that my students haven't seen before. I can teach somebody, or I can show them. PBS makes what I'm teaching come alive.
Welcome back to Sports Page. It's now time for our questions of the week. Our first question, Daniel. Our Jennies soccer team is 8-0, 2 in the MIAA, #1 in the nation. Who do you see coming in here, taking them off their throne?
Honestly, nobody. Who do I think is going to be the biggest test? University of Central Oklahoma.
Okay.
They came in last year, played them 3 times, 3 tough results. 2-0, 1-0, and then a 0-0, 4-3 penalty shootout in the MIAA tournament. They were tough last year. I think they're going to be tough again this year. Looking at the numbers this year, starting off 4-3-1, not the best start for them, but I think this is a team that can really get hot and a team that the Jennies are definitely going to have to keep an eye on as we move later into the season.
I agree.
What about you?
You're as good as your last game, and this Northeastern State soccer team is great. They're red hot, and they're right on the tail of this Central Missouri Jennies team, and they're coming in here with a vengeance. They fell short to them last year, and they want some revenge, you could say.
Yeah. All right. So now I'm going to ask you a question. Going with volleyball.
Okay.
Who do you see as the Gens come home playing their first MIAA home games? Who do you see that you think is going to have a big weekend this weekend for the Jennies?
Oh, I think Carly Soika is going to bring it, as she always does. She just had that killer 27-game kill night, which was a career night for her. Also, Ann Riley with that vicious ace serve.
Yeah.
She's dangerous, and I think those are going to be 2 key components for the Jennies win.
I agree with you. I'm also going to add in Maddie Jones. Maddie Jones, great weekend last weekend down at Central Oklahoma, set a career high with 20 kills, also 10 at Pitt State, coming with a lot of momentum from that series. She's going to come in some tough competition at home for the Jennies. I think she's going to carry that momentum and really have a strong week for the Jennies. Now I'm going to ask you one more question.
Okay.
I'm going to fire another one at you. All right, so Mules football team. Ray Harris is supposed to be the lead back coming into the season. Ray goes down before the season even starts, so we've had to rely on some backups. What have you seen from the guys who have had to step up and kind of have that next man up mentality?
Yeah, I've seen some confidence in a young running back, in a young backfield, in Markel Smith being a true freshman, not really knowing what college is all about, college football. He's filled in those shoes very well for Ray Harris. He's a power back, and he's running really aggressive. Also, you have Rodney Smith backing him up due to the injured Evan Campbell, and he's playing. He's got big shoes to fill, and he's doing so this far, having a pretty decent game at Nebraska Kearney this past week. I think they're playing well as an offense. I know that locker room pretty well, and they're not exactly where they want to be at 2-2, but they're very optimistic that they can get back on the right track and possibly get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with you. And looking at Markel Smith, 248 yards so far this season. You talked about the last game, 105 yards at Nebraska Kearney, really helping out. He's coming in as a true freshman. He didn't know that this was going to be the load put on his shoulders, doing a great job. Garrett Fugate's also chipping in, making the load a little bit easier for him. He runs better than Hayden Hawk, 169 yards so far this year, 113 against Emporia State. So far, the run offense isn't exactly where it was last year, but I think for the system that Coach Sabota's got, I think we're doing really well.
I agree. I think we're doing very well with that.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's all we have that's all the time we have this week. If you have any questions you'd like us to discuss in our closing segment, please share it with us. You can email our questions to our facility advisor, Dr. Joe Moore, at jhmoore@ucmo.edu.
We're going to take one final break. Stay with us. This is the UCM Sports Page on KMOS-TV Missouri PBS and the UCM Media Network.
I choose to be a champion.
I choose to be inspired.
I choose the perfect fit.
I choose red to experience learning to a greater degree.
Choose red. Choose the University of Central Missouri.
Thanks for tuning in this week. You can join us every week for the latest news and highlights from the University of Central Missouri. You can also follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I'm Daniel Barnett.
I'm Asia Garrison.
And I'm Tristan McClellan. Thanks for inviting us into your homes. You've been watching Sports Page on KMOS-TV Missouri PBS and on the UCM Media Network. See you next week.
Support for SportsPage is provided by the University Store at the Crossing. The University Store at the Crossing is the official headquarters for Mules and Jennies emblem clothing, gifts, and UCM memorabilia. Books, office supplies, art supplies, and more are available at the University Store located on the lower level of the Elliott Union on the UCM campus in Warrensburg. And promotional support for SportsPage is provided by 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar. 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar, the radio home of the University of Central Missouri Athletics.